Alright, look, I have a confession to make. And before I tell you this, you gotta promise not to get mad. You promise? Alright, here it goes. I've never watched a single Studio Ghibli movie. Alright, calm down. It's not that big of a deal. Calm down! As I was saying, I know that these films are highly regarded as some amazing movies. I mean, I've heard non-stop about how good the movie about the little girl and the ghost, the one about the little girl and the dog, the little girl and the Furby, the little girl and the Birdman, the little girl, holy shit. But I just didn't care. At least not enough to watch any. It's not that I didn't think they'd be good movies, I just didn't think they'd be movies that would be particularly good. However, when The Boy and the Heron came out, and I saw a bunch of people saying it was another Ghibli classic that changed their lives, while also a bunch of people were saying it was the worst thing they've ever watched, I knew it would be my perfect opportunity to see what all the hype was about. So I watched The Boy and the Heron. I had to piss halfway through, but I held it in like the boss I am. And now that I've seen it, I can confidently say, what the fuck? Look, I'm in no way saying it was a bad movie. The art style and world were beautiful, it was captivating, and I would give anything to be in the center of all those fine young ladies. But it was like a big, confusing amalgamation of things. I think it's in part because of my dumbassery, but I didn't even know who most of the characters were supposed to be until like halfway through the movie. And none of the crazy events that happened in the movie were explained past the point of, yeah, I don't know, it's magic. There's just so much goofy shit that happens in this movie, and I would be on board with not really understanding the world because the main character, apart from having some problems, was just a normal guy, so it would make sense to kind of learn together with him. But bro was way too chill with all the voodoo magic going on. I mean, who watches that Danny DeVito looking thing crawl out of a bird and not say anything about it? If I saw some animal start talking to me saying my presence is requested and then morph into some middle-aged obese man, I would just assume I got 7 days left to live. But nah, Mahito was just unfazed and stood there locked in with absolutely zero expression on his face. Alright, now you know me. I, Tweedle, am a stand-up, all-American boy next door, and I've never participated in drugs. But this movie is how I'd imagine eating acid would be like. Just a bunch of random shit happening without any sort of explanation. But I gotta say, even with my caveman brain, I was entertained. This movie could have some really impactful, deeper meaning where you have to be sitting in the theater looking like the thinker trying to analyze each intricate detail of every scene and look for some symbolic meaning behind each word they say. But to be honest, I was just having a good time watching the pretty colors and laughing at the funny bird with the British accent. I mean, yeah, I didn't exactly know what was going on, but I never got bored or frustrated with that fact. I definitely wouldn't call this the movie of the year by any means, and there were some major parts of the movie that just seemed so absurd to me that I can't be satisfied with the "nah, don't worry about it, it's just some magic" explanation. One thing this movie did amazingly though was its voice acting. Robert Pattinson did a phenomenal job with voicing the bird, to the point where even after knowing he was the voice actor and watching the whole movie, I can't tell it's him at all when I hear the bird talk.
You don't know the vile, repulsive things they're thinking.
Dear mother, she's awaiting your rescue. I'll be your guide.
And I needed another win for him, because after watching The Lighthouse, I've been constantly plagued by visions of him spanking his monkey every time I see him. Okay, editor's note. Not constantly, but you know what I mean. You know how hard it was for me to watch The Batman when I can't look at him without remembering him seeking vengeance on his Johnson? Florence Pugh was also one of the main characters, although unlike Robert Pattinson, I could instantly tell it was her. All it took was one word from her mouth for me to say, "Hey, time out. You can't fool me. I saw your boobies in Oppenheimer." Also, I don't want to hear it about some,
Oh, you watched it in the dub? Disgusting.
This movie's dub cast was amazing, and as an all-American boy next door, why would I want to listen to anything that's not an American? But overall, I would recommend this movie to anyone who hasn't seen it. I don't know exactly how it compares to other Studio Ghibli movies, since I didn't watch them. And I wouldn't say this movie is able to fall under a typical movie score, because in all honesty, it's not a typical movie, and has a very unique everything to it that seems to be a hit or miss depending on the person. But if I had to rate it, I would give it a Tweedle patented score of 6.7 out of 10. It has a beautiful style and world to it, and I laughed out loud in the theater like a dumbass a few times, but it's just too weird for me to give it the same score as something like Godzilla -1, which, by the way, if you're interested in watching, do I have a video for you. If the other Ghibli movies are worth watching, let me know, because in all honesty, I doubt I'll watch one of them without somebody telling me to. But if you haven't watched The Boy and the Heron, you should watch it. And if you have, let me know what you thought of the movie. But just know my opinion is better than yours because I'm the young goat. Alright, get out of here. Also, side note, I could beat one of these things ass.